What's been happening in Africa is the challenge of poverty, and poverty arises primarily from various policies in place. And when when there's instability that may arise either due to mismanagement or poor financial performance by banks, then the need for financial stability becomes very, very important. Because if you don't have financial stability, you have people wondering what to do next, because either they are losing money or they are hungry. And there is need, therefore, to see that in various countries, financial stability is brought up as an important factor. And of course, when the world looks at Africa as one country, and therefore it's important that the whole of Africa coordinates the effort of creating financial stability in their various economies. So in a function like this, where you have different countries looking at financial stability and lessons, what is Nigeria doing, what is Uganda doing, I think you're able to pick up so that you can see how to manage stability, financial stability in the respective countries.
Now, you're from Uganda. From today's conference, what did you take away? What were you able to learn that you're going to take back home in terms of dealing with and creating greater financial stability in Uganda and abroad?
Well, what I saw this morning was that instability can come from anywhere, not necessarily from the financial sector. And therefore, there is need for the various regulators to be aware that maybe their sector may be the cause of financial stability. But there is also need for the ministries of finance to kind of have a centralized arrangement for crisis management, so that if there is a crisis, say a famine, how does a famine affect financial stability in a country? Various groups of people, various regulators, various policymakers should be able to come together to tackle the issue of financial stability in their countries. And I think that this has a contagion effect. If it is happening in Uganda, it may happen in Kenya. If it is happening in Nigeria, it may happen in a neighboring country. So I think these are the lessons that we're picking from this kind of meeting.
Let's talk a little bit about Uganda. Obviously, the country has now found $1.1 billion worth of viable commercial oil. This changes the economic dynamic a lot. Do you think Uganda is ready to deal with the challenges that come with being an oil-producing state?
Well, of course, there is a lot of high expectation from oil. But what we are doing at the moment, especially the central bank, is trying to study how do you manage the oil resources to avoid what they call the oil curse. I mean, we look at Nigeria, we have lessons to pick from Nigeria. We've been organizing seminars to see, for instance, how did Norway do it? And the fact that an oil resource which you mine today is not only for the people of the day, it has impact on the future. So you find a country like Norway, it's been able to manage its oil resources so well that for some time, for years to come, possibly 50 years to come, Norwegians will benefit from that oil. So what we want to see in Uganda is possibly the fact that if the oil comes, it's not the only source of revenue. I heard here that Nigeria's exports, 95% is oil, 80% of government revenue is oil. I think this is not something that should happen because it creates a dependency, and oil is a finite product. At some stage, we'll get over. So I think the lessons we are picking is how are we in a position to manage the oil resources in such a way that they benefit current people, especially in terms of building infrastructure for these countries, and also benefit some people who come years ahead. And of course, one of the key things is that the oil revenues should not go into people's pockets. I think this is what has happened in many countries, possibly including Nigeria, that a few people take away the oil resources and the country suffers. I think Nigeria has the resources to be able to do something about the poverty in this country from the oil resources, possibly better management